In 2026, a security disclosure made a lot of engineers sit up. Researchers found up to 200,000 vulnerable MCP servers exposed across IDEs, internal tools, and cloud services. Now, why does that matter for a video about what an agent is? Because those servers only became a problem once AI stopped just talking and started doing. Booking things. Deploying code. Touching real systems on its own. That's the shift. For years, we called everything a chatbot. But something quietly changed underneath the word, and most teams are still using the wrong mental model for what they're actually building. Here's the problem. Right now, AI agent is the most overused phrase in tech. Your vendor's chatbot is an agent. Your team's automation script is an agent. A prompt with a fancy name is an agent. When a word means everything, it means nothing, and that's genuinely dangerous, because agents, real ones, carry real risk and real power that a chatbot never does. So in this episode, we're going to draw hard lines between three things that get blended together constantly: chatbots, workflows, and true agents. Get these lines right, and every other episode in this series clicks into place. Let's define them fast. A chatbot responds. You send a message, it sends one back. It's reactive, brilliant at conversation, but it doesn't do anything in the world. A workflow executes. It's a fixed sequence of steps you wired up in advance. If this, then that, then that. Reliable, predictable, but it can only follow the path you drew. An agent decides. You give it a goal, not a script, and it figures out the steps itself, choosing actions, using tools, checking results, and adjusting until the goal is met. Respond, execute, decide. Hold on to those three verbs. Here's the analogy I want you to remember for the rest of the series. A workflow is a train. It's fast, dependable, and it runs on tracks you laid down ahead of time. If the destination is on the line, wonderful. If it isn't, the train simply cannot get you there. An agent is a taxi driver. You get in and say, "Take me to the airport." You don't dictate the turns. The driver navigates, reroutes around a closed road, hits traffic, and picks another street. Same goal, but the route is decided live, in response to the world. A chatbot? A chatbot is the friend on the phone giving you directions who never leaves their couch. So what's happening inside the taxi driver's head? A loop. This is the heart of agentic AI, so let's be precise. The agent observes the current situation. It reasons about what to do next given the goal. It picks an action and acts, calls a tool, runs a query, sends a request. Then it observes the result of that action and loops again. Observe, reason, act, observe. It keeps cycling until it decides the goal is reached, or that it's stuck. That loop is the single biggest difference from a chatbot. A chatbot runs once and stops. An agent runs itself, over and over, correcting as it goes. But reasoning in a loop is useless if the agent can't touch anything. That's where tools come in. The agent's hands. A tool is any capability you expose to it. Search the web, query a database, send an email, run code, call an API. Increasingly, these connections are standardized through something called MCP, the Model Context Protocol, which is basically a universal adapter between an agent and the systems it can operate. This is powerful, and it's the source of that opening statistic. A single MCP connection can wire an agent into dozens of downstream systems at once. Tools are what turn a language model from a talker into a doer. Two more ingredients separate a real agent from a demo. First, memory. An agent reasons from context it carries across steps. What it already tried, what it learned, what the user said earlier. Second, and this one gets underestimated, identity. To actually do things, an agent holds real credentials, real permissions. And here's the uncomfortable part. Agents can acquire more permissions while they're running. That's not a chatbot answering a question. That's a piece of software with keys to your systems, making its own decisions about which doors to open. Keep that in mind. It's why later episodes spend so much time on trust and control. Let's make this concrete. A customer writes in, "My order arrived broken. I want a refund." A chatbot replies with a refund policy and a link. Helpful-ish, but you still do all the work. A workflow might run a fixed script. Check order status, if delivered, issue refund. Fine, until the order isn't in the system and the script dead ends. Now the agent. It reads the message, looks up the order, sees it shipped to the wrong address, checks the return policy, decides a refund is warranted, issues it through the payments tool, emails the customer a confirmation, and flags the shipping error for the warehouse. Same request, one of them actually resolved it, end to end, making judgment calls the whole way. Let's lock in the distinction with a scorecard. Does it hold a conversation? All three can. Does it take actions in real systems? Chatbot? No. Workflow? Yes, but only the actions you hard-coded. Agent? Yes, and it chooses them. Does it adapt when something unexpected happens? Only the agent. Does it decide its own steps toward a goal? Only the agent. Notice the pattern. A chatbot is a subset of an agent. A workflow is a subset of an agent. An agent is what you get when you add autonomy and tools to conversation. More capable, and not coincidentally, more to get wrong. Now the mistakes, because everyone makes these. Mistake 1. Calling a chatbot an agent to sound modern. If there's no loop and no tools, it's not an agent. It's a chatbot with good marketing. Mistake 2. Reaching for an agent when a workflow would do. If your process is fixed and predictable, a train beats a taxi every time. It's cheaper, faster, and it can't wander off. Mistake 3, and this is the expensive one. Over-permissioning. In a 2026 enterprise survey, 37% of non-human identity security incidents traced back to overprivileged identities, agents included. Give an agent every key in the building, and you've built a very smart, very fast way to cause damage. So where do real agents earn their keep? Anywhere the path can't be fully scripted in advance. Research assistants that decide which sources to pull and synthesize. Coding agents that read a repo, plan a change, run the tests, and fix what breaks. Customer operations that triage, investigate, and resolve across multiple systems. DevOps agents that watch, diagnose, and remediate. The common thread is judgment under uncertainty, problems where the next step genuinely depends on what the last step returned. That's the zone where a taxi beats a train. And it's exactly the zone this whole series is about. Just as important, when should you not use an agent? If the task is the same every time, generate this report, move this file, send this weekly email, use a workflow. It's more reliable and you'll sleep better. If you just need answers and a human stays in control of every action, a chatbot is perfect and far cheaper. Reach for an agent only when three things are true at once. The goal is clear, the path is not, and you're willing to give the software real tools to reach it. If you can't say yes to all three, you don't need an agent yet. Choosing the right tool is half the engineering. So here's the one thing to carry out of this episode. An agent is not a smarter chatbot. It's a different category of software. One that pursues a goal by looping through reason and act steps, using tools it can actually operate, with memory to think, and credentials to do. Strip away the hype, and that's the whole definition. Loop, tools, goal. If a product doesn't have all three, be skeptical of the label. Quick recap. Chatbots respond. Workflows execute a fixed path. Agents decide their own path toward a goal, looping through observe, reason, and act, with tools, memory, and real permissions. Use each where it fits, and never overtrust the word agent. Next episode, we crack open that loop and go deep on how an agent actually reasons and plans, the difference between a good decision and a confident wrong one. If this made the picture, click subscribe so you don't miss it and drop a comment. What's something you called an agent that was really just a chatbot? See you in episode 2.